welcome to Blocks Live TV. Today is Wednesday, April the 17th. We're now live with the latest in the crypto world. It's 9:30 a.m. in New York City, 2:30 p.m. in London, 10:30 p.m. in Tokyo, and 3:30 p.m. here in Malta. Well, the total market capitalization indicator rose yesterday to stabilize close to the $176 billion level. So let's take a closer look at the markets on today's live Crypto Now show. The cryptocurrency index CCI 30 has returned closer to the 3,100 point territory. This puts the top 30 cryptocurrency index 17% in the green so far in April. The year-to-date gain measures at more than 41%. The 30-day Bitcoin volatility index edged slightly above the 3.5% level yesterday, but it has remained virtually unchanged since the markets jumped in early April. The CoinMarketCap website's 24-hour traded volume indicator has stayed close to the $40 billion mark. The Messari website's so-called Real 10 volume has eased back. However, it does remain above the $1 billion level at $1.25 billion. Now let's take a look at the Bitcoin dominance indicator, and it has increased slightly above the 52% level as the Crypto King rebounded from the $5,000 support level. The top 5 digital assets are mostly trading higher today. Bitcoin is up by close to 3% to rise above the $5,200 level. Ether is on a move higher as it rises towards the $170 price range. XRP has stabilized above the 32-cent mark. Bitcoin Cash is the only top 5 asset that is in the red. Well, this comes after the altcoin jumped above the $300 level this week. EOS is 1% in the green, trading at just under $5.50. The Coin 360 heat map is green across the table, with both of the Bitcoin Cash forks trading in the red today. Well, according to the Token Spread website, the BitMEX and CX exchanges show the biggest buy and sell side difference of 1.5%. The biggest single market spread is on the CX exchange, and it's 0.23%. We'll now take a look at some of the characteristics of the SAFE network. SAFE stands for Safe Access for Everyone. It's a new way to access messaging apps, email, social network data, storage, or video conferencing. Instead of using centralized data centers, the network uses peer-to-peer technology. Well, this utilizes spare computing capacity of all SAFE users to create a global network. The project was launched by the Scotland-based company MadeSafe, which sold MadeSafe coins to raise funds in 2014. The network currently runs on SafeCoin that can be earned by sharing your resources. Now it can be used to purchase network and computing power. We'll now review the performance of the cryptocurrency asset classes as grouped by the Messari website. The infrastructure group stands nearly 1.5% in the green. Most of the assets are trading higher. The media and entertainment category is one of the top performers with a gain of close to 3%. The basic attention is the main bullish driver for this group. The financial sector has gained almost 2%. Bytum is one of the rare assets trading in the red today. The currency category stands nearly 2% in the green. Bitcoin Cash drags the asset class lower as it's in a correction. While lastly, the services section shows the top increase today as it's gained close to 3%. There are a couple of assets that have gained double digits. This is where the 5 major cryptocurrency categories stand so far on this Wednesday. We'll now focus on the most significant moves among the top 100 cryptocurrencies to identify the top gainers and the biggest decliners. The bullish mood is back on the cryptocurrency market. The BBOX token has returned to the front page of the CoinMarketCap website on a daily gain of almost 15%. The Huobi token is having a bullish session as it stands 13% in the green. Binance will be hosting an AMA session with Holochain tomorrow at 4 p.m. GMT on their English Telegram group. The basic attention token shows an increase of 10% as the asset surged above the 33-cent mark. The online advertising industry is changing, and the Internet Archive website has received more than 9,000 BAT tokens, worth approximately $2,500 in tips from the Brave browser users. The Tezos coin is having a bullish session here as well. The altcoin is looking to test the $1.20 resistance level on a daily increase of 10%. The worldwide asset exchange token trades at nearly 8.5 cents, on a 24-hour gain of 9%. This was enough to recover the ground that was lost earlier this week. Less than 20 cryptocurrencies are trading in the red as bulls are in control. The volatile ABBC coin continues its sharp decline with a drop of 6%. The altcoin has already lost half of its value after peaking at 36 cents in April. Now moving on to Nebulous Coin, the Nebulous NAS token is moving towards the $1.30 level on a daily decline of 3%. The Mega token is down by 2.5% to trade at just over the $620 price level. The asset was testing the $800 price range earlier in April. The bearish week continues for Loopring token, and it has declined by 2.3%. Bitcoin Cash wraps up this decline list with a decline of 2%, posting solid gains earlier this week. Japan's SBI crypto exchange delisted this altcoin yesterday. It explained that Bitcoin Cash's current version was unsuitable for listing and could put customers' investment strategies at risk. Well, these were the top 24-hour moves during the European morning trading session on this Wednesday. Join us after a short break where we'll be joined by our expert guest to take a closer look at the cryptocurrency markets.
There are 180 different countries all around the world, which makes us growing like a sphere.
We are stronger than ever.
Have these questions answered without disclosing anything.
AI field is mostly controlled by a few large corporations.
Much busier, bigger than ever.
In the mid-2020s. I do think that will come.
We should kind of keep in mind that we want the world to be a better place.
$15 billion a day. This is incredible.
People find a way to create infrastructure.
I think knowledge is one of the most important things in the world.
We laid the foundation for the distributed trust model that Satoshi builds on.
It does come with some risks, but at the same time, I think it's an opportunity for countries.
Individuals miss the boat on a market, they miss the boat. When the institutions miss the boat, they bring the boat back.
This is Blocks Live TV.
Well, we're back to see what's going on in the crypto markets. Joining us are our expert guest, Jason Fernandez, COO and co-founder of the affiliate platform AE Token, and CEO and co-founder of GetFIFO, Jeff Hancock. So Jeff, Jason, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thanks, Jess.
Thanks, Jessica.
Great to have you both. Now, it has been a green day on the markets, and Bitcoin is back above the $5,200 price level after testing the key $5,000 support. We have seen Bitcoin trade relatively range-bound for most of April. Jeff, we'll start with you here. It was trading flat around the $4,000 mark for more than a month previously. Do you expect this stability to continue for some time?
Well, as you said, around that March period, we did see trending somewhere between, or ranging somewhere between the 3,600, 4,100 level. Now in April, we're seeing a similar trend, but we're just up around that 5K level. I think to truly, stay at these kind of levels, I think we need to go back and test that 4,200 level support, because if we don't, we're kind of just meandering and kind of flying and floating up in this 5,000 level with real no direction. So I think we might see some profit taking and some pulling back down to that 4,200 level. And if we bounce off that and stay up around 5K, I think we can definitely say we're in a bull market.
Fantastic. And Jason, what's your thoughts on this? Do you expect this stability to continue for some time, or, as Jeff said, do you think we're in a bull market?
So I've heard a lot of TA people whisper about 4,600. I don't tend to be as pessimistic. I think that we will actually go, Bitcoin will actually go back and forth between 5,200 and 5,300 in the near term. And on the low side, I still think there's quite a bit of support at 5K. But it wouldn't surprise me if we even reach 5,500. That would be really fantastic. It will also be an important psychological level, particularly for Forex traders. So I'm actually slightly more optimistic, but that's just me.
Okay, fantastic. Now I have to ask you both about one of the biggest talking points of the week. And Jason, we'll start with you here. We have seen Kraken Exchange has delisted Bitcoin SV as well. There have been some concerns over centralization aspect, where a single or a few authorities can actually influence the fate of a project, which we have seen this week. We have seen Bitcoin Cash giving up some of yesterday's gains. Bitcoin SV has been mostly trading sideways during the past 24 hours. What's the latest that's been going on here?
So I think the Kraken delisting was significant because the argument can't be made that it was like a centralized decision, because they actually did take a vote, and something like 70% of the people voted for delisting. And that also, I think, puts other exchanges on notice, because it kind of lets people know what the overall view about Bitcoin SV is in the whole crypto sphere. And I think the problem is that Craig Wright was so intimately connected with Bitcoin SV that his sort of extracurricular activities effectively severely affected the coin. I mean, I think it's down some 25%. I wouldn't be surprised if it kept going, even lower. And I think Binance, one of the interesting points was that when Binance delisted it, one of the points that they made as reasons for delisting it was that they didn't have a really very much development going on. So it wasn't just the whole personal aspect of the back and forth between CZ and Craig Wright, but it was they pointed to essentially more core problems, fundamental problems with Bitcoin SV and in terms of lack of development. So I think that also is a bad sign for Bitcoin SV, and I think I'm actually surprised that it's only down a few points, but I think it has something to do with the fact that Bitcoin SV holders tend to be doing it on principle, tend to be buying on principle, but we might see that give away as it starts getting lower.
And Jeff, I have to ask you, we have seen this unfold with the exchanges. How did you view everything that's going on?
We actually stayed away from the whole Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV kind of fork in the first place. It wasn't something we were confident in listing. I think there was kind of still a bit too much up in the air, so we just chose to leave the regular Bitcoin Cash from the start. So we never got involved. So therefore, we didn't have to delist it. But just like Jace was saying, as Craig Wright being a figurehead and being so closely related, a lot of his extracurricular activities that are on Twitter and the lawsuits that are going around, and people deleting their Twitter feeds and etc. has cast a bit of a bad shadow, and negative press in the crypto space can hang around for a long time. So is that good for investors? No. Is it good for the miners that contributed all the hashing power during the fork? No. And long term, I think the project could collapse if we see more of these delistings coming down the line.
Oh, okay, very bold statement there. Now, we've also spoke yesterday about Binance Coin as one of the first top 20 digital assets that could potentially post a new all-time high since 2018. The crypto winter actually began. Are there any particular bullish drivers for this token as we are approaching the key $20 mark? Jeff, we'll start with you.
Binance has been really, really good in that they've added a lot of utility to their token. We've got their DEX. I mean, they do their listing fees and BNB, the IEOs, all the fundraising. But I feel we're starting to get towards that, overbought territory. I mean, their all-time high when Bitcoin was at 20K was $23, and now we're at the $20 mark as we're just trying to come out of a bear market. So I definitely think it's overbought. There is also a large quantity of BNB that's held by Binance. So there's obviously the chance that they could release more of these tokens on the market and bring the price down, or they could be buying them back. There's still a lot of kind of what ifs there. But I think if they can stay around the $20 mark, then I think a lot of investors are going to be very, very, very happy.
And Jason, what's your thoughts on Binance Coin? Have you got anything to add there?
Yeah, I mean, I think Binance has been an interesting coin because it hasn't quite correlated with other currencies. And one of the main reasons for that is because of their whole buyback policy. So Binance uses something like 20% of its fiscal quarter profits to buy back their own tokens. And basically, once they buy it back, they send the tokens to a non-retrievable wallet, which effectively takes it out of circulation. And thus far, they've had 6 token burns essentially burning something like 5.41% of their total tokens. Their last token burn was January 15th, but their most recent one was April 15th, which is actually why it really popped up. Every time there's a token burn, obviously it decreases the amount of supply of the token in the system, and so that token burn on the 15th is likely what caused the pop in the coin recently.
Okay, interesting. And now, Jason, I want to turn your attention because if we're talking about future price predictions, PayPal's director, Wences Caresses, has recently published an essay. He predicts that Bitcoin could hit $1 million price mark in 7 to 10 years. Now, we've seen plenty of targets that even stretched near $100 million per coin. Are these prediction drivers for clicks like we discussed previously? Is there anything we can take away from these predictions that we see?
So with due respect to Cesarez, I think the prediction borders on the laughable. Essentially, the way he's come up to that number is that his preferred way of guessing is he's essentially noticed that over time, the total amount of Bitcoin, that the price of Bitcoin fluctuates at about $7,000 times the total number of people that own Bitcoin, which might be true thus far, but it's certainly not a predictor of future events. But that's essentially what he says. At least that's what he bases his prediction on, because he says that if you maintain that constant, and if there's 3 billion people to own Bitcoin, and to put that into perspective, I think there's only 40 million active wallets. So on his calculation, something like 3 billion people. So he's got 7,000 times 3 billion, and he's come up with $1 million per Bitcoin. So I think that logic just strains credibility.
And Jeff, what's your thoughts on these kind of predictions that we see? Is there anything we can take away from them, or are they just click drivers?
I think definitely click drivers. You see this at different times of the year in a very cyclic fashion. I mean, the whole 1 million number, I can only imagine what the market cap would have to be with Bitcoin dominance still at 50% to try to attain those kind of numbers. But I definitely think they're a click driver. You were seeing just before US tax time, there was heaps of articles out there about, now's the best time to sell your Bitcoin, do your taxes, and buy back into the dip. We see similar things when there's, a significant price bump. If you do this, then you can gain more exposure and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I'm with Jason. This one's a bit of a laughable number.
Okay, and now I want to talk to you about Tether, and Jeff, we'll start with you. We have seen Tether have a sharp rise in issuance during the recent weeks, which has been interesting. This has been followed by accusations actually of market manipulation. We have already discussed this with our guests on the show. What are your thoughts on this, Jeff?
Personally, I think Tether's a bit of a ticking time bomb. The way that they've not really done a proper audit on their funds in banks. The one that was done was not a forensic audit. It was simply, do the accounts exist? Changing of the privacy policy to fiat or fiat-backed utilities, loan notes, other assets, etc., backing the price of Tether, and we continue to issue them. Essentially, fractional reserving and printing of worthless crypto, and I think it's definitely it played its part propping up the market during the bull run. And is it the cause of the recent price action now? We don't know, but the more they're issuing, the more that it's traded, especially with leverage. Then I think it's just a bad deal waiting to happen.
Okay, and Jeff, Jason, what's your thoughts on this?
So I think I fully agree. I think Tether. Something like in mid-March, they came out and they said that it may not be backed 100% by fiat reserves, which is the weirdest way to construct a sentence at all, especially if you're trying to be transparent. And I think I was actually surprised that we didn't see any major drop in Tether. That just boggles the mind. You think that when a stable coin comes out and says, hey, I know we've been saying we've been a stable coin, but it turns out we're really not, and we're just now revealing this to you, that we may not be backed 100% by fiat reserves. You'd think that would have a major impact on the coin, but it didn't really. And I think they probably noticed that, and then so on the 8th of April, they started to increase the overall supply of USDT, and it has since increased by $470 billion. And again, they've already said that they don't think it's really backed by they're not guaranteeing it backed 100% by fiat reserves. So 470 million that's a lot of extra money that may not be backed by fiat reserves. So I think, as Jeff said, I think it's a ticking time bomb.
Okay, so if I did the note on the ticking time bomb there for Tether, let's discuss something a little bit lighter now. Satoshi's Treasure has been launched as a race for the prize of $1 million in Bitcoin. Is this something that could increase Bitcoin popularity? Are you guys planning to participate in the competition? Jeff, we'll start with you.
Actually kind of akin to the movie Ready Player One. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. But that being said, I mean, they've revealed that there's going to be a $1 million prize. You can either hunt in teams or by yourself. There's something like 400 keys or 400, bits of clues that have to be found. So obviously doing it by yourself is very difficult. And that being said, I mean, while it's an interesting idea, I think it will bring, some hype and some shares and some more light to the space, which I think is always good. Until we actually see, or the person that's running the website actually proves that they have a wallet or multiple wallets totaling that kind of number. I think it's roughly 198 Bitcoins. It could just be a marketing hype, a marketing list. It's a very simple site. It has got that kind of neo hacker matrix kind of feel to it. So I'm kind of sitting on the fence right now and kind of seeing where it goes.
See how it goes, and then maybe participate. You have to keep us updated if you do.
I need to see an address. It could be nothing. It could just be a big, really, really good, sign up to something.com,
Email newsletter, who knows? Well,
yeah.
Jason, what's your thoughts on this? Are you planning to participate? How have you viewed this?
So I think I'll leave that to the other people. I think particularly the kids. I believe there's quite a few that signed up. It'll surely increase Bitcoin's popularity. Question is how many more people would go out and buy Bitcoin. Also, what I'm eyeing is a slight decrease in the market when the winner dumps all his $1 million in Bitcoin. A slight decrease in the market that's bound to happen.
Okay, interesting. So we'll have to keep up to date with that. If anyone does decide to, let us know. We'll sure film the process. Thank you both so much for joining us on the show today. Always a pleasure to catch up.
Thanks, Jess.
Thank you. Well, before we sign off, I do have a last-minute update from our editorial staff regarding the crypto market. Total market capitalization has remained virtually unchanged as markets are trading sideways after yesterday's increase. CoinMarketCap website's daily traded volume indicator still stands near the $40 billion mark. Well, that's all for this Wednesday's Crypto Now live show. We thank Jason Fernandez and Jeff Hancock for their expert analysis. We'd also like to thank you, the audience, for joining us and invite you all to accompany us every weekday at this same time.